Welcome to Standard Voice News Channel. I am Samira Ibrahim. Here are your top stories for today. Several people have been reported killed by bandits in Zamfara State. 500 housing units to be constructed in Zamfara State by the federal government. NCDC reports 350 new cases of coronavirus, totaling 11,516. Katsina peace deal with bandit collapses. On business, FARC disburses 780.93 billion naira to the three tiers of government. And on the international scene, some 100 girls raped in Ethiopia during COVID-19 pandemic. Now the news in details. The Zamfara State government has confirmed the killings of 21 persons in various attacks within the last 2 days. Speaking to press, the State Commissioner for Security and Home Affairs, Alhaji Abubakar Muhammad Dauran, said the attacks were carried out in Talata, Mafara and Maru local government areas. The Commissioner, however, disclosed that the state government is still gathering more facts and figures, as other sources say over 60 persons were killed in the attacks. The federal government says it's in concluded arrangement for the construction of 500 housing units in Zamfara State for the 3,000 internally displaced persons across the state. This was announced by the Federal Commissioner of the National Commission for Refugees, Migrant and Internally Displaced Persons, Senator Bashir Garba Mohammed, at a courtesy visit to Governor Bello Muhammad Matawale in Gusau. He said it is priority of the Commission to safeguard and protect the lives of specific vulnerable groups under the purviews of the Commission within the 36 states and the FCT. Senator Bashir Garba said the 500 housing units, if completed, will be fully equipped with facilities and livelihood support scheme linked to clean water and health infrastructure as a phase one approach to hygiene. According to him, the houses will be built through the Public-Private Partnership PPE agreements, as the Commission was at an advanced stage with private investors to construct the houses. The Federal Commissioner also led the Commission for the distribution of food and non-food items to the people of Anka, Gusau, Maradun, Shankafi and Zurmi local government areas of the state. Responding, Governor Bello Muhammad Matawale, represented by his deputy Mahadi Aliyu Gusau, said the state government will give all necessary support to this commission to enhance the success of the project. He commended the commission for bringing the relief materials to the state, that it will complement the effort of the state government, which have been providing relief materials through the State Emergency Agency, ZEMA. The Zamfara State House of Assembly has announced the dissolution of all the 14 local government councils in the state. The decision, which was contained in a resolution order, said the dissolution is with immediate effect. The spokesperson to the State Assembly, Mustafa Jafar Kaura, said the decision was taken during a sitting by members of the State Assembly and directed that an election into the local government councils will be conducted within 3 months. Reports indicate that the former local government chairmen have been sworn in as sole administrators of their local government. The report says their attention in the local government that their chairmen are not decamped to the ruling party of the People's Democratic Party in the state. The local governments are Talata Mafara, Gusau, Gumi, Shankafi and Bakura local government areas. Former governor of Zamfara State and the immediate past chairman of the Nigerian Governors Forum, Alhaji Abdul Aziz Yari Abubakar, has advised the chairman of the All Progressives Congress APC, Comrade Adams Oshomole, and Edo State Governor Godwin Obaseki to put the interests of the party first as they go into governorship elections in the state. The governorship election in the state is slated for September 19, 2020. But an intra-party feud between Oshomole and Obaseki has continued to repose among party members. Similar unresolved issues in Zamfara State and Rivers States caused the APC electoral fortunes in the 2019 general elections in Nigeria. Alhaji Abdul Aziz Yari Abubakar, who said he was at the presidential villa Abuja for a private visit to Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, called on Oshomole and Obaseki to tolerate each other no matter what their personal interests might be. Speaking from experience, Alhaji Abdul Aziz Yari said, as a party man and pioneer party person, the entire life is about tolerance. He stressed the need to tolerate one another, and no matter what interests you have to put the interests of the party in your hearts. Alhaji Abdul Aziz Yari said that there are laid-down procedures of the party, insisting that such procedures must be followed in resolving issues in the party. The Nigerian Center for Disease Control (NCDC) has reported 350 new cases of coronavirus in Nigeria, totaling 11,516 cases. The agency made this known on its Twitter handle on Thursday, saying Lagos State has the highest number of confirmed cases, putting the figures at 102, while Ogun State has 34 cases. FCT Abuja has 29 cases, while Borno State has 26 cases of COVID-19, among other states. The NCDC has also reported 3,535 discharged cases of coronavirus in Nigeria, while the death figure stands at 323. The Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 has continued to observe the take-up of Phase 2 and implementation of the additional guidelines nationwide. The chairman of the COVID-19, Mr. Bas Mustafa, said the response needs to be decentralized to the local government area level. He said states need to drive aggressive campaigns to engage communities in order to address behavior change and debunk misconception and stigma, adding that traditional and religious institutions have a role to play in sensitizing communities about COVID-19. He said the PTF had recently received inquiries on some aspects of the guidelines and informed all Nigerians that they have been simplified as much as possible, and dissemination has already commenced through the electronic and print media. The national coordinator will continue to elaborate on the guidelines frequently. Katsina State Governor Aminu Bello Masari said on Wednesday that the peace accord his administration signed with bandits troubling the state had collapsed. Alhaji Masari had, on August 28, 2019, engaged representatives of bandits terrorizing the 8 frontline local government areas in the state. Security agencies released 6 bandits in exchange to 29 abductees. The security agencies said they have killed 343 terrorists, 153 bandits between March till date. He said his visit was aimed at calling the attention of the suspected bandits to respect the amnesty granted to them by his government. But in an interview with the Hausa service of the BBC on Wednesday, Masari said his administration will no longer engage in any negotiation or peace talk with bandits as they did not honor the agreement they signed. The governor said in the agreement they signed with the state government, the bandits promised to repent and leave the northwest part of the country. Governor Masari said the bandits had betrayed the state as they could not honor the agreement. The Nigerian Air Force NAF, through the air component of Operation Hadarin Daji, Thunder Strike and Gama Aiki, has flown over 1,400 hours in the last 5 months, neutralizing about 369 bandits and other criminal elements in air operations conducted as part of efforts eliminating armed bandits, kidnappers, cattle rustlers, and other criminal elements from troubled parts of northwest and north central zones of the country. This was disclosed by the Air Officer Commanding Special Operations Command, Air Vice Marshal Charles Oho, while briefing the Chief of Air Staff, Air Marshal Abubakar Sadiq, during his CAS operational visit to NAV units and formations involved in anti-banditry operations in Katsina and Zamfara State. He stated that 1,400 operational hours had been devoted to the accomplishment of 848 air indictions, intelligence surveillance and reconnaissance, battle damage assessment, close air support, as well as tactical airlift missions executed in 1,089 sorties with about 639,206 liters of Jet A1 fuel expended from 1st January till date. According to him, the air component of the 3 operations had continued to shift the battle space to create the enabling environment for the land component to operate more effectively towards the total defeat of the armed bandits in order to bring peace to the troubled areas. The Chief of Air Staff, Air Marshal Sadiq Abubakar, on Thursday in Katsina, directed his officers and men on ground to locate and neutralize all suspected bandits and to submit weekly reports on their operations. Speaking during his operational visit to the air component of Operation Hadarin Daji at the 313 Forward Operating Base of the Nigerian Air Force, Katsina, Abubakar said they must locate wherever the bandits are, their locations, and neutralize them accordingly. He urged the troops not to relent until the people are able to conduct their businesses without fears of attacks by bandits and kidnappers. He said all logistics and equipment needed for the task shall be provided, noting that there should be no room for bandits and other criminals to operate. While appealing for credible information and intelligence on the criminals from the locals, Abubakar said bandits are no ghosts. If they are given intelligence on them, this will assist greatly and the country will be safe for all of us. The House of Representatives has resolved to summon the National Security Advisor, Major General Babagana Mongono, retired Chief of Defense Staff, General Gabriel Oloni Sankin, and other service chiefs, including the Inspector General of Police, Mohammed Adamu, and the Director General Department of State Services, Yusuf Bichi, over the rising spate of insecurity in Nigeria. The lawmakers concluded that the top security officials should address the House next week. The summons were raised based on the motion moved by the member Sada Soli over the increased rate of attacks by bandits in some states in the north central and northeast geopolitical zones. The Kano State Coordinator of National Youth Service School NYSC, Aisha Tahata Muhammad, revealed that of all the over 3,000 core members who recently passed out after completing their service here in Kano State, all were COVID-19 negative. She made this known when she paid a courtesy call to the governor with some principal officers of NYSC Kano State Secretariat Thursday at his office, appreciating how the state government always comes to their rescue when such need arises. When the COVID-19 pandemic was first identified in the state, and in the subsequent weeks, many calls were received from the parents of the core members to find out about their wards. But luckily, the core members called back home to their parents that they were hale and healthy and they are COVID-19 negative. She added that they were grateful to the state government for a good listening ears they get whenever they come calling to the state government. The Federal Executive Council, FEC, has cancelled refunds for federal roads constructed by state governments across the country. The Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, who briefed State House reporters after the third virtual cabinet meeting chaired by the President Muhammadu Buhari, said any state willing to execute projects on federal roads without the intention of repayment must equally seek permission from the federal government because it will be supervised by the Federal Ministry of Works and Housing. Alhaji Lai Mohammed, however, announced that the FEC had approved the refund of 148.1 billion naira to 5 states spent on federal roads because of the new guidelines. The refunds include 18.3 billion naira to Cross River, 7.8 billion naira to Ondo State, 2.4 billion naira to Ogun, 38 billion naira to Bayelsa, and 78.9 billion naira to Rivers. The minister said over 500 billion naira had earlier been paid to 31 states. It could be recalled that in 2016, 36 states of the Federation sent a very huge bill to the federal government asking for compensation for money that they have expended on federal roads. 9 people have been killed and scores injured in the recent attack in Agwala village at Tudun Wadandoka district of Kajuru local government area of Kaduna State. Eyewitness report claims that those who sustained injuries were moved to an undisclosed hospital for treatment. The eyewitness explained that 3 children, 2 women and 4 adult men were all killed by people suspected to be herdsmen. The attackers sneaked into the village early in the morning while people were asleep and attacked them with machetes. Most of the victims had machete wounds on their heads and other parts of their bodies. Killing in Kaduna has now become a frequent occurrence A similar incident had occurred at Gona Rogo and Unguwar Arha communities in Kajuru area of Kaduna State on May 12 and 13, 2020 by unknown gunmen, which led to the killing of 27 persons in reprisal attacks. On business, over to Fauzia Ibrahim.
Hello there, welcome to Standard Voice Television Business Update. The Federation Accounts Allocation Committee, FAAC, has disbursed the sum of 780.93 billion for the 3 tiers of government in April 2020 from the revenue generated in March 2020. According to a report by the National Bureau of Statistics, NBS, released on Thursday, said the disbursements comprised of 478.18 billion from the statutory accounts, 119.50 billion from excess crude revenue, 120.27 billion from value-added tax VAT, and 63.98 billion from exchange gain differences. The report also shows that a total of 264.33 billion from the 780.93 billion was given to the federal government, while states received a total of 181.49 billion. 135.95 billion was disbursed to the local government, and the sum of 54.29 billion was shared among the oil-producing states as the 10% derivation fund. The federal government of Nigeria, FGN, revealed that the sum of 202.94 billion was disbursed to the federal government's consolidated revenue accounts. 4.70 billion shared as share of derivation and ecology. 2.35 billion as stabilization fund, 7.89 billion for the development of natural resources, and 5.78 billion to the Federal Capital Territory, FCT, Abuja. Revenue generating agencies such as Nigerian Customs Service, NCS, Federal Inland Revenue Service, FIRS, and Department of Petroleum Resources, DPR, received 6.09 billion, 10.2 billion, and 5.74 billion respectively as a cost of revenue collection. And that's all on the business updates. I'm Fauzia Ibrahim. Goodbye.
And on the international scene, authorities in Ethiopia have said more than 100 girls were raped and treated in the capital, Addis Ababa, since the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic. The head of Addis Ababa Women and Children Affairs Office, Almas Abraham, said sexual violence was on the rise as schools had been closed to prevent the spread of the coronavirus pandemic. Mrs. Abraham added that 101 girls were raped in the past 2 months after the outbreak of COVID-19 pandemic. The problem is that unlike when schools were open, the attacks are not being exposed until the girls get pregnant. Maybe there will be chances of stopping it from reaching to that stage if the girls were going to school. Men who used to practice different habits outside their homes are now doing the same to their children when they stay at home. Still on the international scene, South Africa's Western Cape province has stated that it will only focus on testing the age that are 55 years and above, thus amending its testing policy as regards the coronavirus pandemic. The province, known as the port city of Cape Town, has the highest number of coronavirus cases in the country, and its health department said the elderly were more at risk of becoming seriously ill. According to the Western Cape Premier, Alan Wendy, this became imperative because the province already had a backlog of 27,000 samples, and testing will also focus on testing healthcare workers. He said vulnerable groups will be given priority so as to ensure test results come out quickly so that they can ensure speedy interventions to save lives. That has been the news from Standard Voice Television. To end the news, a quick look at the major headlines. Several people have been reported killed by bandits in Zamfara State. 500 housing units to be constructed in Zamfara State by the federal government. NCDC reports 350 new cases of coronavirus. totaling 11,516. Katsina Peace deal with bandit collapses. On business, FARC disburses 780.93 billion naira to the 3 tiers of government. And on the international scene, some 100 girls raped in Ethiopia during COVID-19 pandemic. That's the news. On behalf of the production crew, Head of News and Current Affairs Department, Alhaji Ibrahim Garbatunau, I am Samira Ibrahim, wishing you a pleasant day. Keep watching Standard Voice Television News. Goodbye.